Welcome home to Eden, darling. Look how beautiful it is. Let's protect nature. Let's believe in global warming, climate change, and let's all learn about thorium. Thorium, green, clean nuclear energy, because the green activists are going to be like, no nukes, but it will save the planet. So that's the first little tidbit. This is a video, though, about when you create and you put your work out there, what to get ready for your big impact, okay? Now, there's a big lie that people expect. They think when I put out my great work, everybody's gonna love it. I'm gonna have fans and likes and comments and money. You may have all of that. But here's a funny story to give you a sense of what really happens in the creational process. I'm okay, so last night I'm working at the Gypsy Apple restaurant, right? Michelangelo, that's really his name, at the Gypsy Apple in Shelburne Falls. He's a chef, and it's his restaurant, and he's a great chef. He can do anything he wants, right? I come into work and I say, "Hey, Michael, how you doing?" He says, "Living the dream." I'm living the dream. And he is, right? He's back there with his sous chef, and you peek back there and there's like all these dishes brewing all at once and the flames are going, right? And out on the floor of the restaurant, everybody's peacefully romancing and having their birthdays and anniversaries, and this beautiful music's playing, right? So this one table has ordered tons of food, all the best, like 5 of the best dishes, and it's a disaster because they also ate earlier in the day and they cannot eat their food. They're so full. They've had like a few bites of everything, like, oh my god, this is the best food I've ever eaten, but I can't eat another bite. What am I gonna do? And I'm like, well, let me pack it all up for you. Tomorrow it'll be great, And they're like, we're actually on the road and we can't carry things right now at all, and it won't work. We're gonna have to let it all go. So I've got 5 plates that are like $50 each of the most amazing, okay, not 50, okay, $44 to $38 each plate. And I'm like, jeez, whoa, this is so hard, because like all night long I'm throwing away people's leftovers. People say, this part's the healthy part, I don't want it, and it's this beautiful grilled vegetables. I'm like, okay, I can handle this all night long, throwing away the best food in the entire valley, maybe in the whole town. I am throwing it out, and it is all night long this painful thing, like, I'm not gonna lust after the garbage, I swear, but I kind of am, so I'm like, okay, no, now I'm like, I can't do it with all of these perfect dinners. So, here he comes. Here he is. Come on. So, come on. That's good. You did great. That was perfect. Now come. That's perfect. Okay, that's enough now. You gotta settle. So he can't go for too long or he's gonna have a heart attack. So, okay, sorry. So, I say to the people, do you mind if, can I give this to my dog? And they're like, of course. And then this lady starts doing hilarious imitations of the dog, willing to do anything. And it's true, because I come home from that job and I smell like every single meat, and he's like all over me, like, why not some for me, right? So this time I come home, I've got all of these boxes of the most amazing food, and it's all going to be for the dog, right? So I start feeding him tidbits of the pate, and Amazi, this beautiful creature, is like, pate? I get pate? And he's like, oh, yes, so now I'm like warming up some of the meat because it's a little cold for him, and I'm like, oh god, that smells good. And one of our family friends is over, and they're like, what are you doing? What smells so good? Oh, it's like I'm warming up this incredible food from Michelangelo for the dog. And he's like, you're giving Michelangelo's food to the dog? No way. You can't do that. It's a sin. I've wanted to eat in that restaurant for years. I couldn't afford it. No way are you throwing that out. So he starts like digging in. I'm like, yeah, I kind of wish I could too. And he's like, what's your problem? And I'm like, well, karma, like food, somebody else's food sort of has their karma on it. And he's like, these people's karma must be really good. They get to eat this food and waste it and afford it. And I'm like, oh, maybe right. So then my mom comes in. What smells so good? I'm like, well, this food for the dog. Oh, no, you don't. Don't you feed that to our dog. Pretty soon, oh, she's going for it, and I'm like, oh my god, this smells and looks so good. Maybe karma's overrated. So the reason I'm telling you that story is because in the end, Michelangelo would be horrified. First of all, I didn't let him know that none of that food was able to be eaten by the people. He would be horrified that it was packaged up in his nice boxes to go to the dog, that the dog loved the pate, that the guest was like, chowing down like he was at McDonald's, that my mother was like, I'm sampling to see what I think of these different, meals. And I'm like trying to break my whole psychology with karma and food, right? So when you create, this is the insane thing. When you create, it goes into the world and it's not yours anymore. And you don't know how it's going to get to people and what it's going to do to them. But you do know that your intention is going to work on everybody, right? So this dog has had pate and other fancy things that are really leftover scraps from the restaurant, and his palate is different, man. Like sometimes he'll have those leftovers and he won't eat for days. He's just like satisfied, Michelangelo's high level of cooking has changed the dog, right? And my mother now, who's never had French cooking or, $50 platters with, side dishes at $38, is now like tasting and sampling to see which one's the best, right? So this is the thing. You might judge it when your stuff goes out there and it's dumb little teenagers who like it. Like there was a time period when my Love Life show, the other show, Eve's Eden, which is it's on YouTube, but it's pretty randy, was only being watched by a lot of teenagers and and parents with their kids for a sort of a randy sex education thing that wasn't porn because it was only talking, and if I had judged that, I want my audience to be with the hip spiritual people, like you, like I'm hoping to reach you, right? Then all those kids who needed help, right? My girlfriend, who was an incredible singer, but she was a little geeky, a little nerdy, and kind of preachy and the whole goddess thing, and a little bit down on men, she comes into the club and it's kind of not working. But when she goes into women's living rooms, the women are like, they're all like in a woman's circle where they can let out their feelings and start talking about really heartfelt things that are hard to are good to know that you're not alone with these things. So her music was really good for women's circles. It was not commercial. It was not good in clubs. And she wanted to look hot in the clubs, and she looked hot anyway. Like, come on, look hot at the women's gathering. So the thing is to be okay with where your food goes. If it goes to the dog, it will not be wasted because your intention is the magic that changes the world. Michelangelo's intention with his food is to have this very high vibration in just a quiet little town where you would never expect it. The restaurant is so unassuming, most people don't even notice it's there. It's so small, it only fits like maybe it's 8 tables, it's small, and it has a back patio that has another 5 tables or something, but it's unassuming, so that this high level of food is the whole focus rather than some big outer glamour, right? His intention, it's working, and spirit is going to use your art, is going to use your food to reach people all through all kinds of avenues that you don't like, or you would not want anyone to know, that really it's this audience who loves you, or this platform where you're most popular. And when I did my mural, I met somebody yesterday who was like, "Eve, do you remember when you were a teenager and you did that giant mural for the city? And we were all coming around, and you had this whole gang of artists that were like around you and helping you." And I didn't remember it that way. I remembered I was all alone and I was against the city and the townspeople, half of them fighting to stop me and the other half wanting it, and the not having enough money, and raising money from every passersby with my hat, and getting all the supplies for the scaffolding finally. And then a blind old man drives over all my paints and they splatter against the wall, But that's not how he remembered it. My friend remembered it as this epic thing that the town was watching, where me and my gang of artist friends were like scaling the wall with this image of a tree of life that incorporated every single religious symbol we could think of that was in war with each other, all in one tree. And now it's 35 years later or so, and it's still standing. The mural's still there, even though people tried to take it down. There was another group of arguments because it's become a beloved prayer place where people go to pray. I know that from the janitor of the building in front of it, who says, "Eve, it's like 500 people a week come here to pray. They sit on that bench and they go into meditation." That wasn't what I knew would happen. I also didn't know that the town would become one of the most diverse cities in all of New England besides New York City, or maybe even the country. The Amherst, Massachusetts has such an incredible diversity now, because people come to go to the university and they stay from India and Africa and Guatemala and Argentina. And so when I was doing solar, I would go knocking on the doors of Amherst, Massachusetts to sell solar, and every door would open. They'd be speaking a different language, German, Italian, and I couldn't do solar because English was not like the common language. There was like so many languages. In the establishments of the town, you won't maybe run into that, but you will notice it on the street. Wow, those women are in head jobs. Whoa, those people over there, like, they're speaking fluent French. They're speaking Chinese over here. And so who knows, maybe the point of that mural was to create a portal prayer for that city of its destiny, of what it wanted to become, and to create a welcoming vibration for all those nations to have a place in the world where they can all coexist together in safe space. And this is Massachusetts, which is a little bit more evolved, a little bit more like Canada, and we really should let Massachusetts influence more. Right now, Massachusetts is in the process of actually looking at universal health care for all, because they realized if they do so, they will save billions of dollars, save that by providing universal health care for all of us. We already have mass health for poor people, so none of us go without health care here. But once you do this other thing, now we're getting to be like an evolved society, right? And so you have this city where my mural acts as a prayer for 35 years. It's starting to crumble off the wall now. I wish I could find funding to redo it, I actually want to do a whole new mural in my village now. So let's just be like unattached to how the journey happens, okay? I was in the newspaper. They said I was one of the 10 most talked about people for 2 years in the newspaper, right? I didn't expect that. I was only a teenager. I didn't really, that wasn't anywhere in my Sometimes you'll get really famous fast. Sometimes everybody will be talking about your work, like the time that I actually promoted my Love Life show for a little while, and 27,000 people in my own area were watching, and everywhere I went, people would stop me and say, "Oh, my daughter and I were watching your show." I'm thinking, oh God, what a thing to do with your daughter. My show is so randy, talking about, lewd topics. But I talked about them because I knew people are thinking about them anyway, and they need to be in a conversation that's not shameful, right? Here I'm at the Y, my face is all red and puffy, my hair is all scrambled. I'm like, oh yeah, I am the one making those shows, and there was nowhere I could go, no street, no restaurant, anywhere without people talking to me. I got a little bit scared, and I stopped all my advertising, and I stopped making shows for about 4 years. And part of that was like, I didn't feel that my resonance was high enough to influence that many people yet. And you can do this. See, you can try your work out in the world. See what the impact is. Who likes it? If you're happy with yourself. If you have the actual vibrational match to what you're trying to say, right? And you don't. So it's okay. Just take a freaking break for a while. I've been on this break for about 5 years of like celibacy, actually, and being like, I'm not going to go into the romance vibration except for dating to try to find the beloved while I'm, right, a high bar. And you take a break. Just take a break. Develop some other part of yourself, What have I been doing in these 5 years? I traveled to Mexico. I did a bufo for 14 days. Psychedelic journey to die and be reborn. I went to Hawaii, to the center of the world, and I met the volcano goddess, and I was totally smashed by a bunch of MAGA Republicans who hated me. And what else did I do? I became really devoted to taking care of my mother. And what else did I do? I painted 3 murals for some temples. And what else did I do? Well, I wrote a book, and it's out now. Eve's Eden, Her Pillars of Existence, under my pen name, So Eva Sophia, is on Amazon. And it's the true love stories of a goddess dancer. What else did I do? Well, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to give you a sense of when you take a break from the thing that is so important to you. You have to do it at some point before you die, and you better get back to it. You better get back to it at some point. Don't forget it, okay? But in the taking of the break, you're developing your soul to get to this higher level where what you want is for your creation to be integrated on a number of fundamental levels. You want to have your skills in order to take it to the higher communication level. But you really want your soul to be so anchored in your spiritual essence of what matters most to you, so that whether people hate it or love it, or you're discarded, or you are lauded, you don't fall off center into either vanity and I'm so famous, I'm so great, and you lose the message, or low self-esteem and oh, I'm going to contort, I'll do whatever is, asked of me, to make it more saleable, make people like me more, okay? So, all right, much love to you, darling. Have a great time creating, and be brave enough to take a break, let it all go until you've integrated more of your soul's mission, and be brave enough to take action, be brave enough to take the heat of both love and discouragement, and then in the end, don't let it influence your passion, because Michelangelo, his food, even though it went to the dog, to people who shouldn't have been eating it and it wasn't even theirs, to people who had all this money and didn't eat it, his magic intention is moving. It's moving through the village. It's like he said, he's living the dream. What is the dream? He's getting to cook his magic food every week, dream it up, create the recipes in a very sweet environment, just like in the dreamy little cafes of the romance movies, right? So living the dream, you're also being told all these lies about what the dream is, that you're supposed to want so much and get so much and millions of followers and millions of dollars. And, but what about when you do get all that, and then now you're so busy running your big company of who you've become that you're not actually doing what you love anymore. You're not actually doing the art. You're not even spending time with your lover or your family because you're so busy being successful. So I'm talking a long time. Some of you, whoever's here, you are a real artist, man, because most people are gone. They left like 15 minutes ago. But here's the really cool thing. My friend, Cesar Santana of Miami, got the Grammy Award for Best Brazilian Musician in the United States. Now that is such a freaking high honor. He got the Brazilian Award for the Best Brazilian Artist. So the Brazilians know who's the best Brazilian artist, right? Oopsie, sorry. Yeah. So he was like, shit. He's been walking this line all the time where he's just famous enough to have 1 to 3 gigs every day, make his full living, have his motorcycle, have total freedom. He's not well known enough to have anybody stop him in the street, no paparazzi, no danger for his life, for people wanting his money. He's just on the line where he gets to do his art all the time and teach his art, music lessons, and do both bands and solo work and recording work and everything a musician could want, right? And yeah, big choirs. Suddenly he gets this award, right? And suddenly, like, people are jealous. We go to do a gig together, and all the guys, the musicians that were there, they were all excited to hear him. Oh, this Brazilian musician is here. Except for when they found out he won the award, they all left. That award was just too high for them, their competitive spirits, those musicians, to, they didn't want to hear him anymore. And so this is the thing. He kind of started to just minimize that whole thing, like never tell anybody. So there you go. There you go. What's include in your vision of your success the lifestyle. Don't just take on this outer idea of what success is and the expectation that you're going to be happy if you get that. Stick with, I just want to give my gift to the world. I want to hone my gift and joy, find joy and love, right? So please put into your mission the feminine missions of like love and connection, sexuality and heartfelt communion with your divine consort, like the time that takes. Please put in time in nature, in the forest, where you're not technologically, enslaved to the computer. Try to expand your vision, okay? Expand your vision to have some... he wants this thing off. I want to take it off. To not have to wear a muzzle all the time. Okay. Much love, darling. I hope that gives you something to really, really sort of fiddle with the whole idea of success, following your mission, what you might find along the way and not find, and letting none of that be why you create, because you're a passionate artist. and in your passionate creating, you freaking don't want to have to change it all just to be any of those things. See, now he's going to breathe better. He can breathe in that thing, but okay. All right. Love to you.